Thank you for being here. Let's dive in and understand the free market, its advantages, disadvantages, and how it affects our world. After mercantilism, which was used from 16th century to the 18th century, many kept moving forward to the light of advancement. Welcome to our society where commerce thrives and innovation soars, a world shaped by the free market system. In this video, we'll explore the benefits, drawbacks, key terms, and how to harness the free market principles for real-world business success, and how it shapes our daily lives. Imagine communities globally, where entrepreneurs chase their dreams, competition fuels innovation, and your choices matter. We'll dive into economic efficiency, innovation, consumer empowerment, and more. But it's not all sunshine. From Wall Street's financial crises to the bustling markets of developing nations, see how the free market system influences economies and societies. So, fasten your seatbelts, because this is a dynamic force that shapes our world. Let us venture through its benefits, drawbacks, real-world impacts, and business influence. Watch until the end to see this engine that drives our global economy. It's not always flawless, but we know that without freedom in speech, business, or societies, stagnation and destruction ultimately decimate civilizations. Also a reminder, we can't live without nature, we are born from it. So let's begin. The concept of a free market system has been advocated by various economists and philosophers over time, rather than being attributed to a single individual. Its roots can be traced back to classical economic thought, particularly the ideas of Adam Smith, often considered the father of modern economics. Adam Smith, a Scottish economist, published his seminal work, The Wealth of Nations, in 1776. In this book, he laid out the principles of a market-driven economy based on individual self-interest, competition, and the invisible hand that guides markets to efficient outcomes. While Smith is often associated with the development of the free market system, it's important to note that his ideas built upon the works of earlier economists like David Hume and Richard Cantillon. The emergence of a free market system, as outlined by Smith, gained prominence during the Industrial Revolution in the late 18th and 19th centuries in Europe and North America. It marked a significant departure from earlier economic systems, such as mercantilism, which heavily regulated trade and industry. Since then, the principles of free markets have evolved and been adopted in various forms around the world, often in conjunction with government regulation and intervention to address market failures and ensure social welfare. This happens in most countries today. The exact implementation of free markets varies by country and period, but the core concepts proposed by Adam Smith continue to influence economic thought and policy to this day. Please take note that subtopics or some terms, steps, or additional details here will be discussed in upcoming short videos. Stay tuned. Here are the advantages of the free market system. 1. Economic efficiency. Free markets allocate resources efficiently as supply and demand determine prices. This encourages producers to supply what consumers want most, or meaning, businesses strive to offer better products or services at lower costs. An example is the technology industry that constantly innovates and responds to consumer demands, leading to new products and services. Free markets allocate resources efficiently through the mechanism of supply and demand, which helps determine prices. Here's how it works. 1. Price signals. 2. Resource allocation. 3. Consumer choice. 4. Producer incentives. 5. Efficient resource use. 6. Adaptability. 7. Competition. 8. Consumer surplus. 9. Profit motive. 10. Market clearing. Note, additional terms, steps, and further details like these for all the pros and cons of free markets are discussed in later short videos to prevent information overload and confusion of terms. Moving on. While free markets are efficient at allocating resources, it's important to note that they may not address issues of equity, income distribution, and externalities on their own. In some cases, government intervention and regulation are necessary to address market failures, ensure fairness, and protect the environment. 2. Innovation. Competition in a free market stimulates innovation and technological advancements as companies continuously seek new and better ways to meet consumer demands. Just take a look at companies like Apple and Google compete to develop cutting-edge smartphones, driving continuous improvements in technology. Competition in a free market stimulates innovation and technological advancements through various mechanisms. 1. Incentive to differentiate. 2. Efficiency pressure. 3. Market feedback. 4. R&D investment. 5. Technological spillovers. 6. Entrepreneurship. 7. Product evolution. 8. Quick adoption of best practices. 9. Talent attraction. 10. Consumer benefits. 11. Market entry and disruption. 12. Patent race. Examples of how competition has driven innovation and technological advancements include the smartphone industry, where companies like Apple, Samsung, and Google continually introduce new features and technologies to outdo each other. In the automotive sector, electric vehicle manufacturers compete to develop more efficient and environmentally friendly transportation solutions. These and many other industries benefit from the competitive forces that fuel innovation. 3. Consumer choice. Free markets offer a wide variety of goods and services, allowing consumers enjoy the freedom to choose what best meets their needs and preferences. These can be done in several ways. 1. Diverse suppliers. 2. Competition. 3. Customization. 4. Consumer choice. 5. Quality and price ranges. 6. Specialization. 7. Consumer feedback. 8. Innovation. 9. Global markets. 10. Niche markets. 11. Emerging technologies. 12. Diverse business models. 13. Inclusivity. 14. Continuous improvement. Examples of industries with a wide variety of goods and services in free markets include the automotive industry, where consumers can choose from various vehicle types, brands, and models, and the food industry, which offers an extensive range of cuisines, dietary options, and dining experiences to suit diverse tastes and preferences. 4. Wealth creation. A free market system can lead to economic growth, creating job opportunities, improving overall standards of living, and increased wealth through entrepreneurship and investment. The rise of Silicon Valley has created numerous billionaires through technology startups and investments. A free market system fosters an environment that encourages innovation, risk-taking, and capital allocation. Here's how this process works. 1. Entrepreneurship. Under it are innovation, competition, and job creation. 2. Investment. Under it, capital formation, economic expansion, and resource allocation. 3. Efficient resource use. Under it, profit motive and elimination of inefficiencies. 4. Consumer benefits. Under it, lower prices and product quality. 5. Wealth accumulation. Under it, wealth creation, asset appreciation. Last but not the least, 6. Tax revenue. Overall, a free market system promotes economic growth and wealth accumulation by fostering a dynamic and competitive environment that encourages entrepreneurship, investment, and the efficient allocation of resources. It provides individuals and businesses with the incentives and opportunities to create and grow wealth, which can have widespread positive effects on society. Crippling the income capability or knowledge of individuals and limiting their range of opportunities so that they will all be the same, will eventually destroy motivation and cause stagnation in all aspects of civilization. If all communities are like this, people are just like breathing vessels without purpose and determination to advance. No more inventions, developments, and progress. Efforts and harsh toils of their predecessors will then be annihilated as time goes on, and advancement will vanish like vapor. 5. Job creation. When businesses can freely operate and expand, they create jobs and reduce unemployment. Business growth like Amazon's expansion has led to the employment of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. Same is true for all companies like restaurants, shops, manufacturing, etc. Businesses contribute to job creation and help reduce unemployment in several ways. 1. Direct job creation. 2. Supply chain and support services. 3. Entrepreneurship. 4. Innovation and R&D. 5. Local communities. 6. Consumer spending. 7. Training and skill development. 8. Incentives for labor force participation. 9. Economic diversification. 10. Job mobility. 11. Influence on wages. And 12. Global expansion. While businesses can be significant drivers of job creation and reduced unemployment, it's important to note that the effectiveness of these contributions may vary depending on the specific business, industry, and economic conditions. Additionally, government policies, education and workforce development initiatives, and other factors can also play roles in addressing unemployment and fostering job growth. 6. Adaptability. Free markets allow businesses to adapt to changing market conditions and responding to consumer demands quickly. Free markets are known for their ability to adapt to changing conditions and consumer demands. This adaptability is a result of several key characteristics of free markets. 1. Competition. 2. Price signals. 3. Entrepreneurship. And 4. Resource allocation. Real-world events that illustrate how free markets adapt to changing conditions and consumer demands include 1. COVID-19 pandemic. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, free markets responded rapidly to the increased demand for personal protective equipment, or PPE, hand sanitizers, and other healthcare products. Many companies quickly shifted their production to meet these needs, and new businesses emerged to supply essential items. 2. E-commerce boom. The rise of e-commerce and online shopping is a prime example of how free markets adapt to changing consumer preferences. As consumers increasingly preferred online shopping, businesses developed and expanded their e-commerce platforms to meet this demand. 3. Electric vehicles. The growing interest in electric vehicles or EVs, and environmental sustainability has prompted established automakers and startups to invest in EV technology. This shift reflects how businesses adapt to changing consumer preferences for more eco-friendly transportation options. 4. Streaming services. The decline of traditional cable TV and the rise of streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Disney Plus demonstrate how the entertainment industry adapted to consumer demands for on-demand, personalized content. 5. Renewable energy. The increasing focus on clean energy and renewable sources, like wind and solar power, is the result of changing consumer preferences for sustainable and environmentally friendly energy options. This shift has driven investment and innovation in the renewable energy sector. 6. Mobile technology. The rapid evolution of smartphones, apps, and mobile services showcases how businesses respond to changing consumer habits and the desire for convenient, mobile access to information, communication, and entertainment. 7. Plant-based foods. The growing demand for plant-based and alternative meat products, driven by changing consumer preferences for health and sustainability, has led to a surge in companies producing and offering such products. These examples illustrate the adaptability of free markets in responding to changing conditions and consumer demands. Businesses are motivated to innovate and reorient their operations quickly to serve evolving consumer preferences and market trends, ultimately leading to economic growth and the satisfaction of consumer needs. 7. Encouragement of competition. Competition fosters efficiency and lower prices, benefiting consumers. Airlines like Southwest and JetBlue introduced competitive pricing and customer service improvements in the airline industry. Each of us have different preferences, so some may like the offers of JetBlue, and others will choose the Southwest. Competition fosters efficiency and lower prices, benefiting consumers in several ways. 1. Incentive to innovate. 2. Cost reduction. 3. Quality improvement. 4. Consumer choice. 5. Price competition. 6. Efficiency in resource allocation. 7. Innovation in distribution. 8. Market signals. 9. Reduction of monopoly power. 10. Consumer surplus. 11. Lower barriers to entry. 12. Incentive for efficiency. And 13. Responsive customer service. Overall, competition encourages businesses to operate more efficiently, innovate, and offer competitive prices, ultimately resulting in a range of benefits for consumers, including lower prices, higher product quality, and more choices. 8. Individual freedom. Free markets often coincide with individual economic freedom, allowing people to pursue their economic goals. Entrepreneurs and small business owners have the freedom to start and manage their businesses without excessive government intervention. What if a government only chooses a few set of individuals who must do business? Like those only at the top of the hierarchy or specified lineages. This means most of the population will not have a chance to rise in the society. It's like saying that, if your grandparents and parents are farmers, yours should too. It is your destiny to till the soil and farm forever, even your succeeding generations for the next 10,000 years. Who would want that? Moving on. Free markets enable people to pursue their economic goals in the following ways. 1. Entrepreneurship. 2. Choice of employment. 3. Property rights. 4. Investment opportunities. 5. Consumer choice. 6. Income mobility. 7. Self-employment. 8. Global trade. 9. Financial inclusion. And 10. Innovation and invention. Examples of economic freedom and individual economic pursuits can be found in countries with strong free market systems, such as the United States, where individuals like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett have achieved great success by pursuing their economic goals and creating world-renowned companies. These individuals exemplify how economic freedom provides the opportunities for people to realize their ambitions and prosper, whether from poor, middle class, or rich backgrounds. 9. Global trade. Free markets encourage international trade, leading to economic growth and access to a broader range of goods and services. International trade agreements, like NAFTA, now USMCA, have facilitated trade between North American countries, boosting economic activity, being one of the largest free trade zones. Free markets support economic growth and broader range of goods and services internationally through the following mechanisms. 1. Comparative advantage. 2. Expansion of markets. 3. Access to resources. 4. Diverse consumer choices. 5. Economies of scale. 6. Competition and innovation. 7. Lower prices. 8. Job creation, 9. Income growth, and 10. Cultural exchange. Examples and events that illustrate the benefits of international trade in free markets include: 1. Global supply chains. The global supply chain system enables businesses to source materials and components from various countries. For instance, the assembly of smartphones often involves components from different parts of the world. 2. North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA. NAFTA, which has been replaced by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, facilitated trade among the three countries, leading to increased economic activity and job creation. 3. European Union, or EU. The EU allows for the free movement of goods, services, and labor among member states. This has promoted economic growth and increased trade within the European continent. 4. China's economic growth. China's economic growth over the past few decades is closely linked to its engagement in international trade, exporting a wide range of goods to global markets. 5. WTO agreements. The World Trade Organization, or WTO, facilitates international trade by promoting trade liberalization and reducing trade barriers, resulting in increased global trade. 6. Globalization. The phenomenon of globalization has been driven by increased international trade and has led to greater interconnectedness and the exchange of goods, services, and ideas on a global scale. These examples and events demonstrate how international trade in free markets can lead to economic growth, increased access to a broader range of goods and services, and positive outcomes for both producers and consumers. It's important to remember that a balance through regulation and social safety nets is often necessary to address challenges like income inequality, market failures, and negative externalities. Let's now move on to the disadvantages of the free market system. Note that some of the detailed information on some parts will also be uploaded in separate short videos later, to not make this a very long one, especially those with 5 to 10 numbered additional sections. 1. Income inequality. Free markets can exacerbate income inequality, as wealth tends to concentrate in the hands of a few. The United States has experienced significant income inequality, with the top 1% of earners amassing a disproportionate share of wealth. However, this doesn't mean that those at the top didn't earn those. Many have labored and sacrificed so much to finance their businesses and investments. Those didn't happen overnight. And they did it while millions of people are enjoying their lives, drinking often, partying luxuriously, and wasting their money. Either these people have also contributed something new, or uplifted the livelihood of many people. Like the contributions of ease of communication through Facebook by Mark Zuckerberg, or the electric cars of Tesla, services of SpaceX, and Elon Musk's plan to have an alternative place for humans to dwell by terraforming Mars. These can take decades for the complete project's goals to be achieved. The funny thing is, the fact that even if all the wealth are contributed equally to all people, it will return to the same pockets, or to new smart pockets sooner or later. It's just that people are really different, but majority would prefer spending all their money, instead of enduring the hardships of building businesses, or years of strategic investing and experimentation for useful inventions in the society. It's as if it is much easier for most to eat, harm, reproduce, and die, than persevering for lifelong education and betterment. It's just like those who spent 8 to 10 years studying for law, or medicine, or some other practice. And they get paid for their expertise handsomely. Those simple signatures and simple one-page documents have cost these people years of lack of sleep, financial struggles, memorization of whole books, tough paper and practical exams, and more, to be where they are now. Of course, the case is different for those who cheat their way to fame, money, or power. They'll have their own forms of payment also. Here, nothing just comes easy peasy, while laying on a couch whole day doing nothing, except if that's a job or business you're getting paid for. This is just a reality that is hard for many of us to swallow, and caused some to hate all, or most of rich people, just because they are rich. In our world, there is some kind of payment for everything, every action, etc. Though sometimes, honestly, it is often very hard to accept and do. 2. Market failures. Free markets are susceptible to market failures, such as monopolies, information asymmetry, and externalities. There are extreme recessions and inflations in our economies. Many have left thousands of businesses closed, millions of people unemployed, families in turmoil, and broken dreams along their paths. An example was the 2008 financial crisis, resulting from inadequate regulation, and led to a severe economic downturn. Free markets, while generally efficient, are also susceptible to market failures. Here are examples and events that illustrate these market failures. 1. Monopolies. Microsoft in the 1990s and De Beers diamond monopoly. 2. Information asymmetry, subprime mortgage crisis, in 2008, and healthcare costs. 3. Externalities, air pollution and climate change. 4. Natural resource depletion, overfishing. 5. Public goods, clean water. 6. Market bubbles, dot-com bubble in late 1990s. 7. Income inequality, increasing income inequality. To address these market failures, governments and regulatory bodies often intervene through regulations, antitrust laws, environmental policies, consumer protection measures, and other interventions aimed at promoting fair competition, addressing information asymmetry, and mitigating negative externalities. While free markets help our societies to go further in the timeline, recognizing and addressing these market failures are essential to maintaining a well-functioning and equitable economic system. 3. Lack of essential services. Essential services like healthcare and education may become inaccessible or unaffordable for some individuals in a purely free market system. The cost of healthcare in the United States has left many people with limited access to necessary medical services. Some people may experience other services as unaffordable due to several key factors. 1. Price determination. 2. Lack of regulation. 3. Inelastic demand. 4. Income disparities. 5. Student loans and medical debt. 6. Quality variability. 7. Lack of universal access. 8. Market failures. To address these issues, many countries combine elements of a free market system with government regulations and subsidies to ensure that healthcare and education remain accessible and affordable for all citizens. These interventions aim to strike a balance between market-driven efficiency and the equitable provision of essential services. 4. Short-term focus. Free markets often prioritize short-term profits, which can lead to environmental degradation and unsustainable business practices. The exploitation of natural resources in various industries can result in long-term environmental damage. Here are examples illustrating these consequences. 1. Overfishing. Fishing industries often prioritize short-term profits by catching as many fish as possible, leading to overfishing and depletion of fish populations. The short-term gain for fishermen can result in long-term environmental damage. For example, the overfishing of Atlantic cod off the coast of Newfoundland in Canada led to the collapse of the cod fishery in the early 1990s, causing economic and environmental consequences. 2. Deforestation. Companies seeking immediate profits may engage in unsustainable logging and deforestation practices, which have long-lasting impacts on ecosystems. The rapid clearing of rainforests in countries like Brazil and Indonesia for timber and agriculture has contributed to habitat loss, reduced biodiversity, and increased greenhouse gas emissions. 3. Chemical pollution. Chemical industries may prioritize cost-cutting and profit in the short term, resulting in pollution of waterways and soil. A well-known example is the contamination of the Love Canal in the United States in the 1970s, where a chemical waste dump led to long-term health and environmental problems. 4. Land degradation. Short-term profit motives can lead to excessive land use for agriculture or construction, resulting in soil degradation, erosion, and desertification. In China, rapid urbanization and industrial development have contributed to extensive soil pollution and land degradation in various regions. 5. Resource extraction. Mining companies may extract minerals and resources with little regard for environmental consequences in the pursuit of immediate profits. The Niger Delta in Nigeria has suffered extensive environmental degradation due to oil extraction, including oil spills and water contamination. Not just this, human lives can also be in danger in these mining places. In some countries, where people live above the mining locations, catastrophic landslides can occur, especially during rainy seasons. 6. Air pollution. Industries that prioritize short-term profits may resist investments in cleaner technologies, leading to air pollution. The Chinese government's focus on rapid industrialization has contributed to severe air pollution in cities like Beijing. 7. Waste disposal. The desire to minimize costs can lead to improper waste disposal practices. For example, the illegal dumping of electronic waste, e-waste, in developing countries, such as Ghana, has resulted in environmental pollution and health risks. 8. Climate change. Some energy industries continue to rely on fossil fuels due to their short-term profitability, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. The coal industry, for instance, has been a major source of carbon emissions, affecting global climate patterns. These examples illustrate how a short-term profit-driven approach can often disregard the long-term consequences for the environment. To address these issues, regulatory measures, sustainable practices, and public awareness campaigns are crucial in encouraging businesses to consider the broader environmental impacts of their activities and to adopt more sustainable, long-term strategies. 5. Worker exploitation. In the pursuit of profit, some businesses may exploit workers by offering low wages and poor working conditions. Here are several reasons. 1. Cost-cutting measures. 2. Lack of unionization. 3. Lack of legal protections. 4. Informal labor markets. 5. High unemployment rates. 6. Exploiting vulnerable workers. 7. Inadequate oversight. 8. Global supply chains. 9. Subcontracting and outsourcing. Examples of worker exploitation include 1. Sweatshops. Garment factories in countries like Bangladesh have been criticized for low wages, long working hours, and unsafe conditions. The 2013 Rana Plaza collapse, which killed over 1,100 workers, highlighted the dangers of such workplaces. 2. Agricultural labor. Some agricultural workers, particularly in seasonal or migrant labor, face low wages, substandard housing, and exposure to hazardous pesticides. 3. Fast food industry. Fast food workers in various countries have protested for higher wages and better working conditions, citing low pay and lack of benefits. 4. Gig economy. Workers in the gig economy, like ride-sharing drivers and food delivery couriers, have raised concerns about low earnings, lack of job security, and limited access to workplace benefits. Efforts to combat worker exploitation include strengthening labor laws, improving enforcement, supporting worker organizations and unions, and raising awareness about labor rights. Additionally, ethical consumer choices and corporate responsibility initiatives can help incentivize businesses to treat their workers fairly and ensure safe working conditions. 6. Boom and bust cycles. Free markets can be prone to economic cycles of boom and bust, leading to financial instability and uncertainty. These are often referred to as business cycles, the natural fluctuations in economic activity that occur over time. These cycles have various causes, including 1. Demand and supply factors, like consumer and business confidence and interest rates. 2. Fiscal and monetary policy, like government spending and monetary policy. 3. Technological advancements like innovations. 4. External shocks, like natural disasters and geopolitical events. 5. Financial factors, bubbles and speculation and banking crises. 6. Global economic trends, like international economic factors. 7. Inventory cycles, like inventory accumulation and depletion. 8. Demographic changes like population trends. 9. Structural factors like regulatory changes. 10. Psychological factors, like fear and euphoria. It's important to note that economic cycles are complex and multifaceted, often resulting from a combination of these factors. Economists and policymakers monitor these variables closely to understand and respond to economic fluctuations, with the aim of stabilizing the economy and minimizing the impact of boom and bust cycles. The dot-com bubble in the late 1990s and the subsequent crash is an illustration of speculative excess and its consequences. 7. Lack of access to basic needs. In some cases, free markets may fail to provide basic necessities to those in need, such as food and shelter. Homelessness and food insecurity persist in countries with minimal social safety nets. Homelessness, lack of food, and shelter in countries with free markets can be influenced by a combination of factors, including government problems like corruption, wars, and more. Here's how these issues are interconnected. 1. Income inequality. 2. Lack of social safety nets. 3. Corruption. 4. Wars and conflicts. 5. Economic shocks. 6. Lack of affordable housing. 7. Limited access to healthcare. 8. Education and skills. 9. Ineffective policies. And 10. Natural disasters. Please note that the severity of these issues can vary widely depending on the specific policies and economic conditions within each country. Addressing homelessness, food insecurity, and lack of shelter often requires a combination of government intervention, social safety nets, affordable housing initiatives, and poverty reduction strategies to ensure that the most vulnerable populations have access to basic necessities. However, even if the government and many institutions will implement all programs for the sake of millions in the population, if each person will never strive to educate him or herself, or to be better physically, mentally, or financially, all of those efforts will be for nothing. Just a cycle of poverty that goes on and on. 8. Regulatory capture. Powerful businesses can influence or capture regulatory bodies, leading to lax oversight and a lack of accountability. The financial industry's influence on regulatory agencies has been a concern, especially after the 2008 financial crisis. Businesses can sway regulatory bodies through various means. Here are some common tactics and mechanisms through which this influence can occur. 1. Lobbying. 2. Revolving door. 3. Regulatory capture. 4. Access to information. 5. Campaign contributions. 6. Expert testimony and research funding. 7. Trade associations, 8. Political pressure, 9. Regulatory complexity, 10. Capture of regulators, and 11. Public relations and influence campaigns. These tactics can undermine the independence and effectiveness of regulatory bodies, leading to regulatory capture and a lack of accountability. The consequences of such capture can include weakened consumer protections, lax enforcement of environmental standards, and reduced public safety. To mitigate these risks, regulatory bodies must maintain transparency, establish clear conflict of interest rules, and work to balance the interests of various stakeholders, including consumers and the public, in their decision-making processes. 9. Social and environmental externalities. Free markets often do not account for the social and environmental costs of economic activities. Pollution from industrial production can result in health problems and environmental damage, with these costs not borne by the polluters. Externalities are side effects of economic activities that affect parties not directly involved in the transaction. Positive externalities benefit others, while negative externalities harm them. Negative social and environmental externalities are harmful side effects of economic activities that impact society and the environment. Here are some explanations and examples. 1. A good example is the burning of fossil fuels for energy production, which generates negative externalities, like air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. These pollutants harm the environment and public health, but the costs are not borne by the energy producers or consumers, leading to underpricing and overconsumption of such energy sources. 2. Air pollution from transportation. The emissions from cars, trucks, and other forms of transportation contribute to air pollution, causing respiratory problems and environmental damage. The smog in major cities like Beijing, China, due to high levels of air pollution, affecting public health and quality of life. 3. Oil spills. Oil spills from shipping accidents or offshore drilling can lead to severe environmental damage, harming marine ecosystems, wildlife, and coastal communities. Like the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010, which released millions of barrels of oil, causing extensive harm to marine life and coastal areas. 4. Deforestation for agriculture. Markets often undervalue future social and environmental costs, leading to overconsumption of resources and environmental degradation. Clearing forests for agriculture contributes to deforestation, which results in loss of biodiversity, increased carbon emissions, and disrupted ecosystems. Deforestation in the Amazon rainforest, driven by agriculture, has led to environmental consequences on a global scale, affecting weather and water levels. 5. Chemical pollution in water bodies. The release of industrial and agricultural chemicals into rivers and oceans can contaminate water sources, affecting aquatic life, drinking water quality, and ecosystem health. The pollution of the Cuyahoga River in the United States, which ignited multiple times due to chemical contamination, contributed to the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA. And, additional, 6. Imperfect information. In free markets, participants may lack complete information about the consequences of their actions, making it challenging to account for social and environmental costs. In the 20th century, the widespread use of asbestos in construction was a result of incomplete information about its health risks. Many people suffered from asbestos-related diseases before its dangers were widely recognized, just like when cigarettes were advertised as good for your health. 7. Regulatory gaps. Free markets can sometimes operate in regulatory gaps, where there are insufficient laws or regulations to address certain social and environmental concerns. The lack of regulations on electronic waste disposal has led to improper disposal methods, environmental contamination, and health risks in many developing countries. Negative social externalities. 1. Opioid epidemic. The overprescription and misuse of opioids, such as prescription painkillers, have led to a widespread opioid epidemic in many countries. This has resulted in addiction, overdose deaths, family breakdowns, and increased healthcare and criminal justice costs. The opioid crisis in the United States, where millions of people have become addicted to prescription painkillers, leading to countless deaths and societal disruption. 2. Fast food and obesity. The fast food industry's marketing of high-calorie, low-nutrient foods contributes to obesity and related health issues, increasing healthcare costs and reducing quality of life for individuals, like the prevalence of fast food chains, and the associated rise in obesity rates in many countries, including the United States. 3. Tobacco smoking. Smoking causes health problems, such as lung cancer and heart disease, leading to increased healthcare costs, loss of productivity, and a reduced quality of life for smokers and those exposed to secondhand smoke. The tobacco industry's negative social externalities have been well documented. with governments implementing various measures to reduce smoking rates. But, if you research advertisements in the past, cigarettes are even promoted by doctors. Addressing these issues often requires government intervention through regulations, taxes, incentives, and public policies to internalize externalities, promote sustainable practices, and consider the long-term well-being of society and the environment. These interventions aim to align market outcomes with broader social and environmental objectives. 10. Short-term thinking. In a free market system, businesses may prioritize short-term profits over long-term sustainability and social responsibility. Some companies have faced criticism for their role in contributing to climate change and environmental degradation due to their focus on quarterly profits. But, honest journalists and those who try to say even bits of hints about these can be in danger if the companies are governed by people who don't care about ethics, morals, or human life. My sister, who had experienced journalism, told of various cases many of us can't imagine really happening behind closed doors. Free markets often fail to account for the social and environmental costs of economic activities because these costs are considered externalities, which are not factored into the prices of goods and services. Here are some examples of how this occurs. 1. Environmental pollution. 2. Deforestation. 3. Agricultural practices. 4. Waste generation. 5. Resource depletion. 6. Climate change. 7. Water scarcity. 8. Urbanization. 9. Healthcare costs. And 10. Natural resource extraction. To address the failure of free markets to account for these, governments and regulatory bodies may implement various measures, including taxes, emissions trading schemes, environmental regulations, and incentives for sustainable practices. These interventions aim to internalize the social and environmental costs, encouraging businesses to consider the broader impact of their economic activities and reduce harm to society and the environment. Balancing the advantages of a free market with these disadvantages often requires government intervention, regulation, and social safety nets to address market failures and ensure that basic needs are met for all members of society. Each of us also play roles in the outcomes of our societies. Either we pursue progress or destruction. We have to remember that our planet can continue living and renewing itself for billions of years through fire and ice. But it is us who need our planet the most to survive. Here are key terms you have to remember. Some videos will be produced about these. 1. Supply and demand. The fundamental drivers of prices and quantities in a free market. 2. Competition. The cornerstone of the free market, where businesses vie for consumers' attention and loyalty. 3. Regulation. Government intervention in the market to address issues like monopolies, consumer protection, or environmental concerns. 4. Invisible hand. A concept introduced by Adam Smith, suggesting that individuals pursuing their self-interest can collectively benefit society. For the application, you can use these. 1. Strategic innovation. Embrace innovation as a core business strategy. Continually assess consumer needs and adapt your products or services to stay competitive. 2. Corporate social responsibility. Address concerns about inequality and externalities by integrating responsible business practices. Consider environmental sustainability, fair wages, and community engagement. 3. Diversification. To mitigate the risk of market downturns, diversify your business offerings and explore opportunities in different sectors. 4. Market research. Understand supply and demand in your industry, keeping a pulse on changing consumer preferences and adapting your strategies accordingly. 5. Advocacy. Engage in public policy discussions to ensure fair regulations that promote competition while addressing market failures. The power of free market offers valuable insights into a system that has shaped economies worldwide. By understanding its advantages, disadvantages, and world impacts, businesses can harness the lessons learned to thrive in a competitive and ever-changing market, while also contributing positively to society. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope this gives you more benefits in the long term. Subscribe to be notified of more educational content and supporting videos for this. Wish you all the best.